Call for Resource and Development Committee of the 24th Navajo Nations Council's regular meeting for Wednesday, March 30th, 2022 at 8 a.m. Roll call. Honorable Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez is present.
Honorable Rick Nez is present. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. Honorable Herman M. Daniels.
Good morning, present.
Honorable Herman M. Daniels present. Honorable Mark A. Freeland.
Good morning, I'm present.
Honorable Mark A. Freeland's present. Honorable Wilson C. Stewart Jr.
Present.
Honorable Wilson C. Stewart Jr. is present. Chair, you have 4 members available, which constitutes a quorum. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Tahi. We're on invocation on the agenda. I would like to ask Honorable Herman Daniels, if you would, do the prayer for us.
Chair, certainly, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I didn't know that not as glad there. And now we had a now playing with I don't know with they don't know how to nail the game without them. Someone has plans and yeah, are in the honor. Nejit none at all less. Or that in Senate, has the penny be nana. I don't know horn, he learns eat Maggie honor. It's one, he's the hammer sword or less one. The heart of Seattle or less wants to be in the North honor. Gale kid or honor, and see case honor. Ja, det är så hårt kost. Ja, det har jag sagt. Ja, det är inte så bra för då att det man är på helt hit och det sliter hon. I don't know hon. Sliter hon. Bara det har då inte då när hon. Det är inte där då hit hon. Sen går hon. Jag kan inte hon. Jag kan inte. Jag kan hon. Den heter hon så då läs hon. Det är hon den heter den hon det. Panet där hon. Det har det hon. Det är väl snart helt då läs. Det är $100 även ge hon och där hon nägit hon är då läbe helt skit med så hon hon igen när sen hon när hon vi benediet när hon så det är hon jag tror när ni nägit hon jag är den där allt hon har bestått av $100 lite hon och hade sin det kanske hon att det är hon hon hickade på kag och de andra tåg och hon kunde agå där hon har bestått hon har betalt det hon den sen hon adnan hon väl inte det har planerat hon är det hon har betalt hon i sig att hon hade ju hon bara har bild då hon var gått on det då ni hon det snart när det är ni kartor det hon adnan hon but I drove past and that Krehona, but that is dead. I get home. Sabbathana Shona, but David Zealand had enough and had out not had enough and on a way adequate kanda on and a way down. Not possible, not sneak hona. Adequate now a car hona and the husk hona, dole wet air jota into her kid hona. Bahut air hona, net not mad in a cart or less hona. Sabbathana Shona. I don't know hon get the last for the hon at banana city hon Ada hon ye gon haba das kan haba da kai hon I don't hear the loud hon we Gemini city hon Ada haba das hon I don't hon that in next to the house and all the 3 branches Ada hon employees than the hon division directors than the hon I don't know Navajo Nation president should not Navajo Nation vice president I don't know Shama Joe and Jane on I just know judicial branch I just in nation I just die as a hon speaker I just in nation to hon I just go home how much on so hon allt for i hon bara jobba i hon så där jag har egon ha bara har sig hon aronano den fit vägda hon i kaunetta hon vi till hallå inte namn skill hon het sitta hon och bara har sig hon det kedat hon det fit i bina väl hon kapin dag läget hobin dag läget hon zona way hon and hade någon hon safety linigi hon ben hitta hon hon ben hade har sig hon så det är någon sen hon I don't know kända hon 24th Council the members of linigi hon I don't know hon RDC hon Resource and Development Committee hon the dash for hon vilket hon bara kända hon det så Kevin när kedda hon på mabba kända hon satt alldeles hon like between del in it hon ni best day hon region hade hon I don't have a dash hon I don't know how one lenny hon det var that det kan hon I don't have a get in have a dash hon and bed had energy hit bed and like hon and have a dash hon how one be dock hade hållit den hon bed had energy bed den energy hon I don't have a dash hon have get no in hon na khabta hon hon då I ran has age hon och där är det hon sände I hon så det så den ge hon get jag men snit och det så där på hon känner den hon bananas stick håll age så där inne I snit hon ani och det hade sin när det är då even och då alltid det hon har känner jag att det är så lite och det har ultra det ultra och hon bananas stick inne hon I då hon där inne sig age jag har bara hon ultra så något jag har Inet legal hade I något hon hade sin hade det då hon mycket hade sin så att tweet of fan I att det ni legal det hon but vi hon har sin ha det hade det då så I don't know hon tweet of fan I den det hon nästan vägda hon men det har ju bias då hon det har hon det kan ju det hon qabla hon hon det jag hon hade unknown hade någon hon tjejen där ett tror där hon säger där av latanel an hade någon hon och där är det hon kände hon så det då läste i det hon att hon inte så så då det hon och hade asan det där att man hoppas nej jag den inte så så då det och så nattling make it fair
Yeah, Honorable Daniels. Kehilla Aisha. Roshan ben National Sani Dole. Kehen Chago. Let's move down to announcements, Mr. Tahi.
Good morning, Chair, members of RDC. My announcement for today is at 2 o'clock. We have a leadership meeting with Division of Transportation on roads funding. This meeting was voted for in person and it will be held at Navajo Division of Transportation. Tomorrow on Thursday, March 31st at 9 a.m., we have a leadership meeting with DNR, Department of Agriculture, Office of the Controller, the District Grazing Committee to discuss streamlining the stipend process. This meeting will be held by teleconference. Then on Friday, April 1st, we have a 9 a.m. work session with the Department of Minerals to discuss the primacy legislation. This meeting is hybrid and will be held at Navajo Land Department, and the Zoom meeting has been sent out. Chair members of RDC, you also received an email from Manuel Rico indicating that on Monday, March 4th, there is a petition for a special Navajo Nation Council to address legislation number 0257-21. And that petition is still being circulated. Chair members of RDC, that is my announcements for today. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Tahi, for that. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any announcements? I hear none, so we'll move down to recognizing guests and visiting officials. Let's just have introductions for all, starting with honorable members of RDC, honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Yes, good morning, Chair, though, committee members. I don't his staff, though, I do Office of Legislative Council, I do OPVP, though, I do some of our offices, departments, programs, divisions, the BIA, though, I do and he's the trust in the liberals think that but yet you didn't do Thomas Walker edition did Nana down the end shinigi shing hinch be patroni that what's something that should say to this national we city to or yeah when the headling to and that second get the whole year then son task in the aja but now I think a banash in Chicago but a question on Western Agency county but easy but a local yet you did like now take care, sure.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable Daniels.
Good morning, Chair, again. RDC members, in Shiaki Herman Daniels Jr. I don't know, then give it at me. Can it see me? That's it. I got thought I should not toy here, Lini, not kite the net, I should say. The rate, not the on or jet, or shot, or traffic, can a banashness. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Honorable Begay.
Chairman, good morning. Kadosh Dej Hanati Nansnoki on a Dasab Dani Dasche out of this sheet, a Dasnale. Lamount Tutipuga Talan Canwood, Nazin, the many farms that I but the Shah Doshanan season. Good morning, Chairman. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Honorable Freeland.
Chairman, good morning. Adoshina, thank you for that prayer. Shay Mark Freeland this year, Adoshina, Tutsoni, Snono Kia, Ani, Bush's Chin, Sanjay Canada, Shay, Adotana, Betting Edison, a county, Osika, Isina Shah from Crown Point, represent 8 chapters out here. You should agency Crown Point, Nahadishki, I, the Senti, White Rock, Lake Valley, Herfano, and Nayaza. Good morning to one and all. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Stewart.
Good morning, Shania, Chairman. Vice Chair Walker, Aaron Dakona, Shania Kedan Slangi, Koron Hilton this morning for our RDC meeting at 8 o'clock this morning. Shania, like you have for the prayer this morning, the Ayin Lagi for our meeting today, and also the enlightenment on the agenda and whatnot. So thank you, Shania, for that. Ako Jaya Wilson, C. Stewart Jr. A. and Shadow Twitsohni and Shle, Nanish Ezekachini, Bashis Chin, Tachini, that's a Chado Bibitoni, the Chanela, Aro Tell, Dan Nasha, Aro Batkadashagi itself, so back at sheet, once alone he cheated, they saw Kaya Deans on Snalagi Ayo, Batkadashan, the 45th Agency Representation for the Resource Development Committee. This morning, I am in Windrock for a meeting, but I'll also be on the call, Shana, Chairman. Quitter, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Jay, you have Rick Nays in Shia Mashanan or Zay Twitchin, Bashish Chin, Senahabitan the Shichedo, Kia Ani the Chanel Hadat, 8 and Enchlido, chapters Banash Nishige, Hogback, Shan Wan, and Nazar, Upper Fruil, and Burnham and Newcomb. Welcome, everybody. Let's go to our staff, Mr. Tahi.
Good morning, Chair, members of RDC. My name is Rodney Tahi. I'm the Legislative Advisor for Resource and Development Committee. I'm Kia'ani and Senja Kene, and I'm originally from Steamboat, Arizona. And I wanted to say thank you for that beautiful prayer this morning to Delegate Daniels. It's a great way to start the day. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Woody?
Chair,
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Woody?
Mr. Chair,
ahead.
can you hear me? Okay, good morning. Yat Benem RDC, Ado Chair, Neto Vice Chair, Shayat Beneshido Yat in his addition, Chair Teresa Woody and Chair Kapan, show the Bethlehem and Passion, Kia Aneda, Chedo, Tina Janeda, Shanale, Hot O, San and Schnedo. Here and General Hatsodins and Mr. Daniels, Adon, Dahon, General here that us. And welcome to our meeting and good morning to all those on call. Mr. Chair, think back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Woody. Ms. Khan?
Yat Resources and Development Committee members, Danoshiniki, Ado Yat Beshbanta, Saaniki, Danoshiniki, Esto, Ado Ahehe, Shiash, Najonagonaha. So Dean Nielsen, thank you very much for that beautiful prayer. As always, I feel wonderful after contemplation of things around us that we do not see and that many things that we should be thankful for. Thank you again, Chiaj, for that beautiful prayer. She Mariana Khan, da shijene. Dona entes slinigi a tohiet leaning ishle. But Adibashish chin, Ashche Dashiche, Sanji Kinna I could ask Sunnishle. Mr. Chair, I'll be listening on to the call today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. From Speaker's Office, Ms. Yako. None. We'll go down to our colleagues. Honorable Paul Begay.
Oh, yeah, been Honorable Chair, Honorable Delegate Ignace, another Vice Chair, Delegate Walker, members of Resource Development Committee, those staff and all those listening in today. Thank you. Always good topics on RDC meetings. So I'm tuning in this morning. Paul Begay, ciao, Delson. I don't not Banasha. I don't Dishka Gado Lichi. Tuna Bans Habitin. I don't creepy Todo Tonelli. Slagotana little has Ango Banasha. I don't Tadishkisn na Inchla. If the Tornish that I don't to the chain na is a shade of the Schnedo Kia an is Naldanla. I could ego it Nanslado. Here, my brother, Honorable Herman Daniels, for the prayer. And from Haynes Nido, what has Angi. I thought Baines Nido, here, what Ashing became Jonago. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Begay. Honorable Odoso.
Good morning, Chairman. Mantai, I did Vice Chair. I did members of the Resources Development Committee. Auto so that's Janet. Not quite natural, get leaning snip. And study cup behind by his chin. Look at Ned as it shado to not Jenny, it doesn't lot. I mentioned Tonanis, the have a baseball and snow that is that the scene. Yeah, though, could is though, not though, a bunch of fun to the Mana Shaggy. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Show, for being on the call, as well as Honorable Begay. Any other colleagues we have on the call? None. We also have on the call with us today, BIA Regional Director, Mr. Greg Mahoja.
Good morning, Chairman Nez, Vice Chairman Walker, honorable members of the RDC, good morning. I also have with me Ms. Cheryl Curley, Tribal Operations Officer, and Dr. Curley as well. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mahoja. Dr. Curley?
Good morning.
My name is Calvert Curley, and with the Navajo region, branch of Natural Resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Curley. Ms. Cheryl Curley.
And good morning, Yat A. Bennett, RDC Chairman, RDC members, Cheryl Curley, BIA, Navajo Region.
Thank you. And
Chairman?
the Office of the President, Vice President. Yes, go ahead.
I also have Angela Arviso, my Deputy for Trust Services, on with us as well.
Okay, Ms. Arviso, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave Bennett, and good morning, Chairman Nez, RDC Committee, and all attendees. Angela Arviso, Deputy Regional Director for Trust Services, Navajo Region, BIA. Akeha.
Thank you, Ms. Arviso. We also have from the Office of the Vice President, and Vice President, Ms. Clashen.
Yate Bennett, Honorable RDC Committee and colleagues. I'm Teresita Clashen with the Office of the President and Vice President. I am an Executive Staff Assistant.
Good morning and thank you. Do we have Mr. Davis Filford on the call? None. Anybody from Department of Justice? Division of Natural Resources? None. Do we have Elizabeth Begay or Robert Willie on the call?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. This is Robert Willie from the Office of the Controller, Accounting Manager. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mr. Willie. Thank you for being on the call with us. We also have on the call with us from Speaker's Office, Ms. Yako.
Hi, good morning, Chairman, members of Resources and Development Committee. I apologize for getting on the call late. My name is Melinda Arviso Siako, Legislative Staff Assistant for Speaker Damon in Window Rock, Arizona. Tsitna Jinin Shlong Kia Ani Bashichin, Tudich Ini Dashichedo Dashini Dashinele. And thank you for having us on the call. Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Yako. We also have on the call Elk Petroleum from Aneth, Utah, Mr. Ray Ambrose.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Chairman Nez, Honorable Vice Chairman Thomas Walker, and all the members of the Resource Development Committee. I also have with me, I have Jeff Rodell, the VP of Operations for Elk Petroleum, Bob Anier, the land manager for Elk Petroleum, Sherry Robbins, the safety manager for Elk Petroleum, along with Georgia Scott, our representative for public relations. Thank you and good morning all.
Thank you. Anybody else on the call that wishes to introduce themselves? None. Hakushila, we'll move down to number 3 on the agenda, reviewing and approving the agenda. Mr. Tahi, could you read this, please?
Chair, members of RDC, your agenda reads as follows. Resource and Development Committee of the 24th Navajo Nation Council, regular meeting Wednesday, March 30th, 2022, 8 a.m. Proposed agenda, presiding, Honorable Ricky Nez, Chairperson, Honorable Thomas Walker Jr., Vice Chairperson. Location via telecommunication. 1, call to meeting to order, roll call, invocation, and announcements. 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials. 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. 4, reviewing and approving the journal, March 23rd, 2022. 5, receiving reports. A, update report on the Integrated Resource Management Plan for the former Bennett Freeze area on the final IRMP documents and the action needed to complete the IRMP approval and adoption process. B, report from the Office of the Controller on the 2018 expenditure of the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund and the current amount, both principal and interest gain. C, report on carbon capture and a storage project power plant on the Navajo Nation. 6, Old business, none. 7, new business. A, canceling RDC regular meeting on Wednesday, April 6, 2022 at 10 a.m. and scheduling a RDC special meeting on Friday, April 8, 2022 at 8 a.m. B, approving an in-person leadership meeting with Department of Agriculture and Navajo Nation Fair Office to discuss the master development plan and funding for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. C, approving a leadership meeting with Malatasan Salle National Forest, Navajo Nation Forest Service, Forestry, Heritage and Historic Preservation Department, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs on the Mantell National Forest Plan revision for Thursday, May 5th, 2022 at 9 a.m. 8, close of meeting, announcements, and adjournment. Chair, that is the agenda read into the record. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Tahi. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Freeland.
Motion, Kelly. Honorable Freeland, and then Honorable Keowen Begay. Any comments or questions?
Chairman Thomas Walker.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker, you have the floor, sir.
Hey, Chairman, committee members, everyone that's listening, I'd like to offer an amendment to the agenda. It's before us this morning. RDC to have a meeting in Cameron, Arizona, focus on the uranium cleanup projects to receive a report from our own EPA, Navajo EPA. There's a number of EPA-related entities and agencies that are, I think, to coordinate, these projects. I guess because of the pandemic, that coordination is not as it should be. But so as we know, the community is still waiting for those cleanups. Oversight, you stand a ding later that's the nutshell. Not the old tato, then you know on. I'm here that the no to eat that. Ko juda no ye dana is the C chapter do. Even actually call adult oversight committee to have a meeting in Cameron. Secondly, Navajo Nation's Parks and Recreation. So that community gets in that management area. So there are some issues that the community would like to again bring attention to from the oversight committee. So community the response isn't quite as clear. Sometimes there's no response. But yes, that's the community and but I wanted to add on that onto the agenda as an amendment to the main motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Where you're requesting for an Amendment 1 to add a meeting, RDC meeting at Cameron, Arizona in reference to uranium cleanup. I would like for you to motion the Amendment 1, Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Yes, a motion.
Okay, I'll ask for a second. We need a second.
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Shannon, Honorable Vice Chair Walker and Honorable Freeland. Yesterday, we were in Albuquerque for a meeting. I requested a meeting also, RDC meeting at Untitled Chapter to give them a report on the Gold King mine spill legislation as well as tour of the Navajo mine in Tech area. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, could you add that on to your amendment one, as yours will be D and then mine will be E.
Chairman, yes, I can concur with that. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Freeland?
You got Chairman.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second for an amendment one, which is to add under new business D, RDC meeting to be held at Cameron, Arizona on the topic of uranium cleanup. Also to invite Navajo EPA. And then E will be RDC regular meeting also at Untitled Chapter in reference to the Gold King mine spill report also, and tour of Navajo mine in Tech area. Those are the two that will be added as amendment one. Are there any comments or questions, Mantai? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay, how do you vote?
Chairman Keelan votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Chairman, green.
Okay, thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. We have 2 added to the agenda. Back to the main motion. Any comments or questions? I hear none. We'll go ahead and vote. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keelan votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green,
Honorable
Chairman.
Stewart? Okay, thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. We do have an approved agenda before us now. Number 4, reviewing and approving journals from March 23. This was sent to us from Ms. Woody. I'd like to have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I motion.
Second, Daniel.
Thank you. Honorable Vice Chair Walker and Honorable Daniels. Any comments or questions? None. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keelan votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries on approving the journals. We're on number 5, receiving reports. First on the list will be an update report on the Integrated Resource Management Plan, IRMP, for the former Bennett Freeze area. on the final IRMP documents and the actions needed to complete the IRMP approval and adoption process. We do have the presenter with us, Mr. Greg Mahoja, Regional Director, and Dr. Shabala is not available today as we were just informed. So we will give the floor to Mr. Mahoja. Mr. Mahoja, who else will be doing the presentation with you, sir?
Good morning, Chairman. I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Curley, who will be giving us the presentation today. Dr. Curley.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Curley, you have 20 minutes, sir.
Good morning, Chair and Resources Development Committee. Thank you very much for the invitation again. And what I would like to do is just do a recap of what has happened within the past year regarding the Integrated Resource Management Plan for the former Bennett Freeze area. So BIA Navajo region had, after presenting to Resources and Development Committee, it was recommended that we take the IRP for the former Bennett Freeze area back to the communities, and that's what we did. First of all, we presented to Resource Development Committee, and Resource Development Committee requested that we also present to the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, which we did. And after that, we also had the 30-day public comment period for this environmental assessment. So by the CEQ regulation implementing the NEPA, it doesn't really require public comment for an environmental assessment. But since for the former Bennett Freeze area, since it was recommended to take it back to the communities and get more information, get more comments from the communities, we went ahead and scheduled 30-day public comment period during the May 24th through June 23rd of 2021. And these public meetings were, there was 4 that we had put on, and they were all virtual outreach meetings, and they were held in Navajo and English. We had some translation, and that was from June 2nd through the 5th of 2021. And we had sent notices to the affected chapters, the 9 affected chapters, individual stakeholders, business owners, tribal and federal representatives, and elected officials for the region. So that was the process that we went through. We also had the announcement through the radio, websites, newspaper, social media. That was all throughout the Navajo Nation. So after the public comment period, after it was closed, comments were compiled and analyzed to identify issues and concerns. So now we are at a juncture here where we're asking Navajo Nation to approve the no action alternative or the adoption of the no action alternative or the other one, the balanced growth alternative. So what is before Resources and Development Committee, Chair, is that we did present to Resources Development Committee, and at the time when we had our discussion, Dr. Shabala was going to move forward with the as far as selecting which alternative should be recommended for RDC to recommend. So there's 2 alternatives that are out there: the no action alternative, and the balanced growth emphasis alternative. Those are the 2 that are still out there to be recommended for the environmental assessment. So under the no action alternative, the IRMP would not be adopted and implemented to meet the former Bennett Freeze goals and objectives for resource management. So if the Resources Development Committee select the no action alternative, current land use and resource management activities would continue using existing laws and policies, land use practices, management plans, and agreements. The former Bennett Freeze wide planning and direction and desired development of land management would not occur, and land management areas would not be delineated. So basically, there's going to be no planning, and this the status quo is the way it is today. But if we go forward with if Navajo Nation moves forward with the balanced growth emphasis alternative, that basically supports environmental and culturally responsible growth and economic development. Considers current Navajo Nation protection zones, restriction on developments in certain areas, and requires more robust integrated management techniques identified in the integrated resource management plan. Development would be in line with the goals and objectives of the IRMP. These goals and objectives were identified during the development of the IRMP, and we worked closely with the Navajo Nation Division of Natural Resources, Dr. Shavala's office, Mike Colona's office, Jason John, Water Resources, and other departments within the Division of Natural Resources to develop the IRMP. That's the resources that we use from the Navajo Nation. So the focus on the balanced growth and economic development with minimum impact on environmental and cultural resources. So that is the balanced growth emphasis alternative. So at this point, I've been talking to Dr. Shabala, and he had indicated that he was going to be working with Resources and Development Committee to develop as far as which alternative to move forward. So that is where we're at, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Curley. Dr. Curley, is there anybody else that would like to add to your presentation?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure. This is my presentation, but I would recommend if Tony Robbins is on the line.
Mr. Robbins?
Tony Robbins is our natural resource manager for Western Navajo Agency. He may be having problems with his internet connection, so he did mention that this morning.
Okay. Dr. Curley, since you speak Navajo pretty well, the option 1, no action alternative. Number 2, balanced growth emphasis alternative. Number 3, growth and economic emphasis alternative. The next ben Shabiga.
Okashi, Ashi, the next audition. The former Bennett Freeze area integrated resource management plan will give the integrated resource management plan the integrated resource management plan within the former Bennett Freeze all the resource within the former Bennett Freeze, we worked with the Navajo Nation to come up with a plan. ado eya e bin nache ado le bin hat ado le jo kwa gi eya e sa ni no eya e ban nas ti ako Hagos and a kigo is eya in hitch need it's a no action alternative under the environmental assessment. Because the integrated resource management plan, Niki eya had issues at the nis to in nache eya in ado list so hot eya in has aniki no action alternative. Former beneficiaries cuts anigi hat ahada kaigi kuche nanis kado this rangeland agito this although the nas anigi keda elgeto this ado saho has ado bahot chna hadendo this oi abike this tito this ado saho kujena agida that the fish and wildlife hot bah no sendo this akodi this the whole former beneficiaries and in the as and then jona nel ado saho ba the hot has that restricted areas because of endangered species ado the not agido fishing not loshi da chelita hashit fishing endangered species the adult the episode he given because of growth that so not no is for need in hospital needs for the two alternatives that we requested to take a look at no action alternative though balanced growth emphasis alternative because so penak dobe kashina nail tagging ado eda geho ado hashida ho ego economic development these areas will be used for economic development to chindan that the ego by yati no but conservation plan skip Mr. Tony Robbins conservation areas that although in the map conservation areas they about the although I see the conservation areas threatened endangered species in although in the water quality cultural resources, traditional cultural properties, because these are areas that need to be recognized. Although there are certain areas on former beneficiaries, development focus areas, like for example, development focus areas. The camera though to the city has anigi kinis this joke kinis is he given that upon now so that ego the next restricted areas shani but the hot shit have been like so uranium mines so that long they about that ego identify that although in the now the floodplains, those are areas that are restricted. One day I go one dot although that is yeho so although scattered home sites ada in the rangeland ada ada. Other quigoshi in the Shilmish Navajo Nation. They Tondas, Nego, the Ilga, Ega, in the Pon, the Shopon, the Ned, Oko, Ea, Tatsato, Nisa, no by Yaki, Neko, Oko, Kodo, Navajo Nation, this is a native Ea, lay alternative to the Hayat Etolish, no, Aba Yelki, Hala Ea. Not us allow other than natural other less Indo other not us lago integrated resource management plan for the former benefit freeze area programmatic environmental assessment logo a base of the natural shadow don't sit down there abastan so technically for business
Thank you very much, Dr. Curley. I don't know, you have provided this very important information in English and Navajo. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I motion.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Second by
Gallen.
Honorable Begay. Thank you very much. And honorable members of RDC.
Chairman Thomas Walker.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker, and then I'll go to Honorable Otto. So, Vice Chair Walker, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Chair, committee members, other presenters, Dr. Curley. Did it participation niki AD better hasn't it's a what a quaggy at banana do the hindi kata or sadly bonda krita. Function that been called the nanny clinic had a leben yeah. Need dog could that isn't it uncle. But Nagida she don't need ego. I don't believe how she's either. So a day echo. So I bought the name. It all virtual calls, virtual meetings, or Zoom calls. Or basically, and then it just I think you have to hold. Called the never carrying it. Niki the Yego to put that in better husband. Yego, ya dos to Yego. Ya, na the dos kiltrila na wins and hardly a bit in that or she not ye in that niki she be in that yacho niki ipa win a call a lit a yeah it's all lecture or it's echo other what the public information public hearings in light of the limitation on how we conduct our hearings or engagements with our community members in light of that. What that's what that's my question, Chairman, to the presenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker, for your question. Dr. Curley, your response.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Delegate Walker, for your question regarding the public participation and virtual outreach. The Quaggy net how a baby in the house net kunde had net a virtual hearing in virtual meetings. What abanas the kunde under DOI regulation and environmental quality regulations. Under environmental assessment, it's not required to take an environmental assessment for public comment. With the recommendation, RDC recommend that Ilago, Navajo Hopi Land Commission, which in although Abanach, public meetings, so Nanadia, May 24th through June 23rd, 2021. Although that's it, Naya, not of the Johanne, Baggy by a key. A call Dequa, Sa Betana, a Haderne, Hedi Ladole, Kadat, Ahot Edole, Ahot, no action alternative, 100 as Aniki. That immediate bias balanced growth emphasis alternative that's it all so select it all a co quite night critical godo RDC but that was not sabe than I a co oholia go she the she age of the 5-day period comment period nana the she yana mastio eba hot Upon the Kodo, the Kodo Bia, Kodo Aj, Nadi, never Atli, I done a public comment, so it closed Dalia. Ako Ashin Hanan, Hale, I done it closed the public comment. Ako quite a skip upon the Ajit, Sabe, then I by the net. 5-day comment period. She the Shinja Yanabo Tio, the Shin Tasto, according to Kodon, that go I done a public comment if you close in ya. What and they go, Ado comments that Yan Yahata Stido at the Dini, that Nane Ito, Pachinito, the Johnny Nelia, United Kitty. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Curley. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, do you have a follow-up question?
Chairman, I would have another question to ask. Let me allow other committee members or colleagues to ask questions. Thank you.
Sheila. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any questions? I did say I'll go over to Honorable Otto Show. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members of the Resource and Development Committee and Bureau of Indian Affairs. Thank you for your report and need to getting this as an update on the BIA the FF Former Benefit Area IRMP plan, which was legislated and approved in legislation by the Tribal Council. Alcohol, IRM plan, deep I really want to say is that we are waiting for those selections and division or correction, the Navajo Nation and from the mother government, you understand that has to make a selection. And what has been the communication from the mother government since the request that has been made to the nation, BIA? These three options that are being proposed, the rehabilitation effort for the former Bennett Freeze is something that we are continuing to try to wait for. But their plan hot, although they can no idea of the Benny Freeze, so alleged to Jeto, nobody alcohol, so Diego. Communication effort from the trustee. Hey, that I see Danny. Whether we are still waiting, whether we are waiting on somebody from the administration. But the local level, 9 chapters that were affected by the former Bennett Freeze. Debe las lindo was a PIA codoche that the door nisoti ego hat no. Coho da adi that niki. Coho hard la. I don't no, I really hope that everybody gets on the bandwagon. And maybe we need to change policy, tribal policy, internal policy for the decision makers, because it sounds like one person, and I cannot speak for that administration because they're not under our authority, and we know that we have an oversight, and even maybe through the oversight, maybe I can request from the Resources and Development Committee, bring Dr. Shabala forth and maybe ask an answer. It sounds like you've been waiting. Alcohol, I just would like to just inform you on that, but I appreciate the conversation. So yeah.
Honorable, so you're requesting Dr. Shabala?
Yes, please.
Mr. Tahi? You could try to contact him. I know he said he's might be out in Kayenta most of the day, and I don't know if he'll have phone reception, but if you would try to contact him.
The chair members of RDC, I did text him. I did send him the link directly to this RDC meeting as well. I haven't received a response back from him since 8:19 this morning when I sent him that text message. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tahi. Thank you for that. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any other comments or questions? Chairman, none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman, though, committee members and your staff, so colleagues that are on this call. Honorable Paul Brigado, Honorable Otto, former Bennett Freeze, Kaya, I think they Craigie, quite a Bahwin, Kodobahon, Nana. I caught neither figure had jiggy out delegate so that a Sakis Washington it is Sato is I don't Hito Navajo Nation Other local ligido, local governments, local people. The people are the government at that level. Put out a ban siki sako shigin ido adole the not but they need adobe they need nisha ado yat that a local government. But they done the government, BIA federal government or Navajo government that ileho anji that is adani ashin what that's the ordinate that's the best anik how no the public hearing open meeting that everything has some timeline per federal requirements, federal guidelines, Epic Echo Washington, and Sikwadi, it all Kahanil, on Hitlahan, to Igit, Ajoti, cut out a shareholder, Shigi Ahadna. Shiliat isn't digital. That perspective always needs to go into conversation like this, Shananta, committee members. Oversight needs in not some of the committee members the ne bayashti janike eko and leading leading tak babagandi and leading kachesa adi the bayashti di no a local interests, local community members because the government that governance get ada Lonko. He should be held at deep now. So, I had other in adult lecture, it's very important, critically important. Information of this sort, when it has reached local community members. It up be yahad net sha. And it was twilly so dig out. And did it abanal de Iba Santa le Diba Yadati Adole Hodo Nixon Neno Adi Oye was Hadinetta Bajavaho. Then you know that the outreach is pretty it has happened. It has happened. A court local the Nizado the Nabataji Tado Di need the basic one negi. I just need the net of Spahas, not your Kodo. So, that outreach. I guess that's my measure of public information or information coming from central government or the federal government, how that's received or how that's used at the local level of Quaggy. Reason I'm focusing on this is the public meetings, public hearings, either required that it's a form of consultation. For 99% of the constituents, if they didn't hear about it or participate or even know how to engage in that public hearing, so what are you in this case? She says it's a form of constructive thoughts and into the process criticisms constructive some idea that it could be used later in a good way. So it all sa hodno be in it just net ins and it bohne chobdi ni binna alasha ni at hit it asha hit abel hon jo kwage asha ni ba hon and to shi that be khoton got so it's sad it has situation and chairman or committee members it what koto Salle, not the Nahegi. Thank you. Question like Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any other comments or questions? Honorable Paul Begay, you're more than welcome to say or ask a question, since you're right in that region as well. None? Atanya. Hakushila Shinanta. I believe what we can do is have another meeting on this and make sure Dr. Shabala is on the call and give him a heads up ahead of time, as well as Mr. Tony Robbins from Tuba City, Danko. Honorable Vice Chair Walker did and that did a quick head of Tinigi, height all AD Alfonson. So height all that e tash di orly heki option 2 to option 1. Height all a bizad illa. So that egoshin connection. So Ed Hudson. Queens and hit a net quick had energy format Bennett freeze and negation it so here has none energy honorable members of RDC last one see then we'll go ahead and accept the report. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Sure, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay. Honorable Daniels. Honorable Freeland.
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart.
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels votes green. I just received his text message. He has poor phone reception. Honorable Begay. We have a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. We'll accept the report. Thank you, Dr. Kelvin Curley, Mr. Mahoja. Thank you very much. Down to B, report from the Office of the Controller on the 2018 expenditure of the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, AIF, and the current amount. Both principal and interest gained. Presenter, Ms. Elizabeth Begay, Acting Controller, and Mr. Robert Woolley, General Accounting Manager from the Office of the Controller. Ms. Begay, Ms. Woolley, Mr. Woolley.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Resource and Development Committee, Controller, Accounting Manager, and I'll be. So I sent out updated 2022. Hopefully, you all have that in front of you. 3rd, 2022. It was actually to Mr. Finance because they had requested this report last week. So I'll delve right into the report. There should be 2 portions. There's a memo and there's also exhibits showing the financials. So the financials is Exhibit A. The amount available within the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund is footnote number 1, which is $56,330,623. The amounts that have been committed and assigned are the projects that have been allocated, and the committed is $22,196,126, and the assigned is $1,459,996. So the question about principal, it as of February, the 56,330,623 is the principal. If you go down to a little further down the page, you'll see the combining statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So far up to date, as of FY22, the interest that has been received so far is $14,065. Other revenue are the contributions to this account, which is $16,084,337. So the total revenue for this account for FY22 is $16,098,442. Total expenditures, that includes all the projects for FY22, plus the $4 million allocation that was done last year for the chapters, is total to $3,312,356. So there were more revenues received than expenditures. So $12,786,086 went back to the fund balance of this account. If you go to Exhibit B, you'll notice the projects. So year one projects are all listed here. The total amount that was budgeted is $14,430,500. The actual amount spent on these projects is $8,404,647.48. So the encumbrances for all these accounts is $708,337.13. So the remaining budget for the year one projects is $5,317,515.39. If you'll notice, there are two accounts that are actually in the red, and that would be the ranchers supplemental feed distribution year one. They've overexpended by $94,762.34. The other over expenditure is the Fish and Wildlife Climate Drought mitigation for year one, which is overdrawn by $9,449.42. If you go further down the page and actually to page 2 of the Exhibit B, these are the actual year two expenditures. So there is an amount of $16,217,800 that had been budgeted. So far, as of February 28th, 2022, the expenditures were $47,526.89. The encumbrances, which is open commitments, was $1,234.09. So the remaining budget was $16,169,039.02. So the total projects to date as of February 28th, the total budgets was $30.6 million. Actual expenditures was 8.4, and the open commitments was $709,571.22. So all these projects, there's still a current remaining budget of $21,486,554.41. Exhibit C shows the $4 million allocation to all the chapters, and this is as of February 28th. So the $4 million has been set up. If you turn to page 2 of Exhibit C, a total of $2.5 million has been paid out to the chapters, leaving a remaining budget of $1.4 as of February 28th. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions the committee might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willie. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Motion, Chair. I'll second.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker and Honorable Stewart. Any comments or questions?
Chair. I have a question.
Honorable Stewart, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Walker, so yeah, Mr. Willie for the report. Thank you for the numbers that you have presented. And then the question I have is on the I lost it in the email that you sent under the year one, I believe it was, or the exhibit B, where you have some projects. Is it B or A? I'm getting confused. Under B, you have some projects under there, like the windmills and the earthen dams, and also the water lines for livestock. With those projects like that, and you said, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that those were from year one. So how can we expedite those projects, or what do we need to do to help these ranchers and at the local level, the chapter level, to make sure that these projects are being pursued or being looked into, especially at this time, without having, and I know there is a list. I have been informed that there is a list that was already given to the Department of Ag through the grazing officials at the time to say these need to be replaced. And that's what I'm working on with the District 18, is to make sure that the water wells and the tanks and troughs are being replaced and whatnot. So we're working with that, and I did bring up like a red flag to Tarek on that, to say that this is what I've been informed, and I know that he's going to look into it for me as well. So for those funds, I know that these funds don't expire, but how can we get the needs out there to the community members for their livestock? What can we do with the chapters and the district grazing level to assist these individuals, even the Eastern Land Board? That's my question back. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your question, Honorable Stewart. Mr. Willie, your response?
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. As far as the status of each account, I don't have a detailed list of what each project is slated to do. What I can do is get you the responsible person for each one of these accounts, and we can go from there. You did mention Tarek, so water resources is a part of some of these projects. So it's it looks like fish and wildlife and agriculture, of course. So each account was set up for year one with specific projects in mind. I'm not sure if the projects that you're referring to were part of the scope of work on each one of these, but if we get the responsible people, we can probably get a list from each one of those departments to see if what you're looking for is on those lists. There is year one and year two, and I'm not sure if agriculture is in the process of starting the year three projects. But Leo Watchman and his group, I believe, would be the people responsible for setting up new projects if the specific projects that you're referring to are not included in any of the scope of works of any of these projects. So it's kind of a comprehensive list that we'd have to create and work with certain departments in order to get the requests that you're asking for, Honorable Stewart. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Willie. Honorable Stewart, do you have a follow-up question?
Chairman, should I? No, I don't. I will go ahead and touch base now that we have these. I think we can go ahead. My recommendation would be for us again to meet back. I know we do have a meeting again with the Department of Ag, and then we can use this as well to get more details what we need to do to assist not only the Department of Ag, but also, like I said, the chapters and the grazing officials at their level and land board to make sure that these projects, at least these funds get out there to the communities. That would be my final comment, Chairman, for now. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have that meeting since it's scheduled to. So, if Honorable Freeland.
Chairman, good morning, colleagues and staff. It's a beautiful day whenever you get moisture and starting to rain out here in Crown Point, so very thankful for that. Mr. Willie, thank you for the report and update. Just thinking about, we had a discussion with Department of Ag as RDC, and there was always I don't want to call it conflicting, but there's always fluctuating, I guess is a better word, fluctuating numbers as far as what is actually in the AIF, what is the actual true balance in that account. And then my second question relates to interests. Are those interests every quarter? Are they given every quarter? Are they updated every quarter? Are those interest amounts usually sent out to whether it's Department of Ag or RDC? Just some comments and questions about that, about the finances, and it seems that there needs to be a true figure across the board that we need to have for the Department of Ag. And we did meet with them in Twin Arrows, and this was one of the things that was brought up as far as having a true number. So, Chairman, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Willie?
Thank you, Honorable Freeland and Mr. Chair. As far as the true balance, the amount available in the fund is in Exhibit A, which is the footnote number 1, highlighted in red. So $56,330,623 is available as of February 28th. Mind you, if there are any legislations that have been approved and are in legislation form after that date are not reflected in this report. So there are ongoing deposits that are being made by agriculture. It does fluctuate as far as the amount available, depending on what we get from, I guess, the insurance company. Also, as far as the interest, I believe it's recorded every month. So I don't believe Agriculture Infrastructure Fund has a specific sub-policy on its own. So it's just generally invested. So there is interest deposited every month. I'm looking at it right now. So, and the interest portions are deposited each month. So at the end of the year, it closes out. So once it closes out, it becomes part of the principal. So hopefully that answers the question, Delegate Freeland and Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Freeland, do you have a follow-up?
Sorry, Chairman, I was muted. Thank you, Mr. Willie, as well as I think just having really some more defining, or if you can just keep Department of Ag updated on the interest as well as the actual true number, because there was some confusion on that. So those are my comments, Chairman, this morning. Thank you.
Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? If not, Mr. Willie, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as keeping the agriculture updated, we're looking to make sure that they are updated every month, because this fund has become a lot more in the focus of both leadership and agriculture. So we will compile that list for Delegate Stewart as far as the responsible parties. And I'll forward that directly to him, unless the committee wants to see that also. But I flagged that, and we'll provide that additional information on the projects. And as far as Delegate Freeland, yes, and we'll try to make sure that we submit these also to RDC, because Budget and Finance is also indicating that they want out balances too. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members of the RDC committee.
We certainly appreciate your report, Mr. Willie. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? I hear none. We'll go ahead and vote to accept the report. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay, texting his vote as green. Honorable Daniels also texting his vote as green. Honorable Freeland?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart.
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. C on the reports. Report on carbon capture and storage project, power plant on the Navajo Nation. Presenter from Elk Petroleum, Mr. Ray Ambrose.
Yes, good morning, committee. Good morning, Honorable Nez, the honorable members of the committee. I previously spoke the folks that are here with me, Vice President of Elk Petroleum, Jeff Riddell, over operations, Manager of Land, Bob Anir, Manager of Environmental Health Safety is Sherry Robbins. We also have our Manager of Public Community Relations, Roger Atsedy, and finally we have Georgia Scott, who is with Agenda Global joining us as well. So first off, I want to thank the committee again for inviting us to present this potential project. I want to make sure that the members of the committee have a copy of the presentation that was sent out yesterday by Georges.
Yes, we do have the presentation, so you may proceed. You're limited to 3 agents to speak, so only 3 can speak. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman Nez. So going to slide 2, this is the.
So you also have only 20 minutes. Also, thank you.
Oh, thank you for that note. Okay, so going to slide 2, this is just a general overview of a carbon capture and storage power plant that we are proposing to build next to our Aneth Central gas plant in the Aneth chapter region. I will also like to mention that we have presented this project to both the Aneth chapter and the Red Mesa chapters. So I'll go over a general overview, what is carbon capture and storage, and finally the benefits to the Navajo Nation. Moving to slide 3. So the Greater Aneth Field, as you all are aware, is a huge oil and gas field located in southeast Utah in the Aneth chapter area of the Navajo Nation, and also a little bit is on the Red Mesa chapter as well. It is an ideal area for carbon capture and storage. And the reason why it is ideal is this field is fully electrified. That is a very unique occurrence in oil and gas production. Very few fields, oil and gas fields throughout the United States, are fully electric. And so this makes this an outstanding place to put this. Being fully electric, we have an incredibly high electric bill, and I'll go into that in a little bit. Second is that the Greater Aneth Field is already a CO2 flood, and we have CO2 infrastructure. So currently, we purchase CO2 from Kinder Morgan from their McElmo Dome, which is a naturally occurring CO2 source. And that McElmo Dome is located in southwestern Colorado. And so via about a 25-mile pipeline, we transport CO2 to the Aneth Field. And this field has been under CO2 flood since 1985, so well over 30 years. Also, we own all of the electrical infrastructure. So between ourselves and Navajo Nation Oil and Gas, who also supports this project, as they would be part owner, we own all of the electrical infrastructure. That's also very rare for an oil and gas field. Most of the time, the electrical infrastructure is owned by the utility. Here, as part of the 32-point agreement, the utility is able to use our electrical infrastructure to deliver electricity to the local area residents that are the residents that are in the area. So it's also a benefit to the Navajo Nation in that way as well. Finally, we talk about where our electricity is purchased. So we do have a contract with NTUA, but NTUA is just a pass-through entity. We actually purchase our power from Rocky Mountain Power. And Rocky Mountain Power produces this electricity up in coal-fired power plants up near Salt Lake City. And coal is, whatever electricity is produced by coal, it emits a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. And none of that CO2 is currently captured. And so I'll also talk a little bit about that. So going to slide 4, what is carbon capture and storage, or carbon capture and underground storage? So it's a method that is used to remove CO2 from the exhaust stream of a generator. And when that CO2 is removed from the exhaust stream, it's compressed, and we can store it underground or use it as part of the CO2 flood. And so we are looking at putting this type of system in Aneth. Going to slide 5. So this is a cartoon or a picture of how it works. So you have a power plant. The exhaust or the flue gas from the power plant goes through a capture facility. It's compressed and put into a pipeline. And then we use that pipeline, or we use that CO2 to extract more oil out of the ground. It's currently estimated that the CO2 enhanced oil recovery at Aneth has increased recovery by about 10% or more in the field. And so of the 500 or so million barrels that have been produced out of Aneth, 50 million barrels has been because of CO2 EOR. So it is a very important aspect of the nation's income and the field life of Aneth. Currently today, I would estimate that about half of our production or so comes due to CO2. Okay, so moving on to slide 6. So one of the ways that we measure, sort of how much CO2 gets put into the atmosphere because of our electric load. So we at ELK, for Aneth, currently have an electric load of 35 megawatts. Every month, our electric bill is about $1.4 million. And so this, just to give you an idea of how big of an electric user we are, it's the equivalent of a town of about between 50 and 100,000 people. That is how big our electric bill is. That's how much energy we use to produce the oil and gas out of this field. But if we look at how much CO2 is produced to make that electricity, 1.5 pounds of CO2 is put into the atmosphere for every kilowatt hour that we use. And since we use a whole bunch of kilowatt hours, so we use 300,000 megawatt hours. If I convert that to kilowatt hours, that's 300 million kilowatt hours of electricity every year. And so converting that all to tons, so we produce over 200,000 metric tons of CO2, or not we, because of the electricity we use, the energy provider lets 200,000 metric tons of CO2 per year go into the atmosphere. Now, because we have a large amount of electricity need in a very small place, one of the things that we can do is put a power plant there. And so looking at slide 7, what does a CCUS power plant look like? So I'll be talking about the two items on the left side of the picture on slide 7. So there's currently one of these in existence in the United States. I was part of this project at my previous employer, and it is currently built just south west of Houston. And so if you look at if you go to slide 8, if you look in the background, that's the skyline of Houston there. The building's way in the back. And then what I'm showing here is this is the largest coal-fired power plant in the US. This is called the Parish power plant. It is owned by NRG. And the 4 large smokestacks there are one stack for each of the coal-fired generators. Now, what we are looking to put at Aneth is not a coal-fired generator. We are looking at putting a natural gas-fired generator. And so just to give a sense of scale, in the box on the bottom left is a small relative to the coal-fired power plant, but it's actually larger than the one we would put in Aneth. And I'll go into I'll give a blow up on these slides, on these pictures here in a minute. So the one on the bottom left is the natural gas generator along with a heat recovery steam generator, and I'll explain that. And in the box on the right are the carbon capture facility, and there's a tower that is used to recycle some solvent that pulls the CO2 out of the gas stream. Okay, so moving on to slide 9. So this is the generation plant that it's roughly the size that we would look at putting in. And the large wedge looking item, that's called a heat recovery steam generator. So you can see there it's relatively small compared to a large coal-fired power plant. Moving on to slide 10. This is the carbon capture facility. Now, this carbon capture facility is about 5 times the size of the one that we would want to install as part of this project. And all of this would, like I said, would be located next to the current Aneth Central gas plant. Going to slide 11. So this is what the power plant looks like. It's roughly the size of a bus. And we would have 2 of these out there to provide the roughly 50 megawatts of power. So you can see it's not very large. And then slide 12, this is the heat recovery steam generator. So steam is used as a part of this process. Now, when gas is burned, this is basically it's a jet engine. So when gas is burned in this jet engine, the exhaust that comes out is still quite hot, and you can capture more energy by converting that heat, by taking that heat and converting water into steam. And then what happens is if you look at the picture, the exhaust vent is on the right-hand side of that. That actually will go through the carbon capture system where the CO2 will be extracted and compressed. And then what is left is basically just nitrogen and water vapor. And so when you see a power plant and you see a bunch of, stuff coming out of the smokestack, that's actually primarily what you see is the water vapor turning into, like a cloud. So that is the basic overview of this. We have recently signed a contract with an engineering company called Sargent & Lundy. Sargent & Lundy has been around for a long time, but this is a project that has a bunch of moving pieces, and it would be the first of its kind in the United States and one of the first of its kind in the world. And so it would be a true engineering feat to put this on the Navajo Nation. Just because, and that's why I can't give you an actual picture of what it looks like, because one has never been built. So going on to slide 13. So the benefits to the Navajo Nation. So the Navajo Nation would be part owner of this power plant through Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. They would own approximately 35% of it, and Elk Petroleum would own the balance, the 65% balance. As owner, NNOG would receive credits for the California low carbon fuel standard. So the economics that make this all work is California has a cap and trade program for CO2 emissions. And because we produce oil, we can ship that oil or transport that oil over to California. And that's an important key in this, is the oil has to be sold in California. But we could do that. And in doing so, we would receive credits, and the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Company would receive part of those credits as well. With this program, and it's by CARB, which stands for California Air Resources Board, the owner of the plant is the one who receives the credits. But like I said, the Navajo Nation would receive credits. So this would also benefit the Navajo Nation, is that it would increase the amount of Navajo Nation jobs or jobs available to the members of the Navajo Nation. By basically, you would move jobs from a coal-fired power plant up around Salt Lake City, and we would move those jobs to on the Navajo Nation at the Aneth Field. And we anticipate this will provide 5 to 10 highly skilled, highly paid jobs to members of the Navajo Nation. Additionally, this project would prolong the field life of the Greater Aneth Field by approximately 10 years, while also doing, and the largest benefit to all is this is all would all remove CO2 from the atmosphere, which is one of the causes of climate change. And we would be doing so while increasing the value to members of the Navajo Nation. And so that concludes the presentation. And I think if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose. Does any of your agents like to speak also? You have about 4 minutes.
Any other of the team would like to say a word?
This is Jeff. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
This is Bob Annier, the land manager. I want to thank the committee and the members and the chair for inviting us to this meeting and allowing us to present this information. We feel it will be a great benefit to the nation, as Mr. Ambrose mentioned. And I think we would like to also offer a tour of the field to the members of the committee. Some may have been out there previously, but I think it would be a great benefit to the Resources Development Committee if they could visit the field and understand what we do for the nation and how we produce the oil and gas for the nation, which benefits the nation through the taxes and the royalties that we do provide, and the jobs also. So I think Jeff Rodell might be able to speak to that a little bit more about when and how a meeting could be set up. But thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I motion.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Second.
Second by Stewart.
Honorable Stewart, thank you. Nanda, any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, this is Dr. Daniels.
Honorable Daniels, you have the floor.
Good morning again, Kodota, Mr. Chair, Resources and Development Committee members, Kodota, Facilitator, Adandashike, Adokodon staff, Adandakodo Shamash, Dokodo Legislative Council, Kodom Ms. Khan, Kodota, every meeting, Kodot Kiffin Stako. I see by Ken, since Adokodo Nagaidam. I know that people are listening, Kodot Nagaidam. I appreciate the ones that are on the line being part of this meeting today without and also to Elk Petroleum and LLC without them. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the update on what you guys are doing in the Aneth region. regarding oil and other initiatives moving forward, plans, future plans that you presented to the Resources and Development Committee. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen this, the first time I've heard this. As a shareholder to Navajo Nation Oil and Gas, I'm pretty sure they want to get some information on this as well. Yeah, we have our meetings every now and then. So perhaps we can meet and present this to the oil and gas company, oil and gas board, oil and gas shareholders. Because when I read this at the last PowerPoint, it says benefits to the Navajo Nation. Navajo Nation will be part owner of the power plant through Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. As owner, NOG would receive credit for California low carbon fuel standard. So even like to invite Aneth Elk Petroleum to our meeting one of these days to give us a presentation on this. So like I said, this is the first time I've seen this, I've heard this. So Mr. Chair, honorable members of RDC, this presentation. We used to receive revenues in NGS and Peabody over $40 million. That's all gone. So in replace of that, we're trying to really we're really thinking Navajo Nation Oil and Gas just shareholders need board need how will we move forward with our revenues to the nation to the oil and gas ben yeti neniki kodojo in har shuna aju the pushi days meso da in meso hasin so peso to ya nai oil and gas in the Navajo Nation. So with the revenue loss, the $40 million that NGS and Peabody used to give to the nation, but the test kodo halita peso anane ito la sort of a see case oil and gas just that initiative board dan lenigi to nana kodo out of shareholders. Zuno ekishin days just zuno kodo ekishin dahuis to ekishin dahuis so kodo hydrogen aron ta kodo helium da AIC kodo hasin so but alte ida hodat ego dam si kodo lana needs and hodat ego kodo beso gizo and hikwe our own enterprise gi beso hasin so da inisha no beso ya hanai do leta hasin so go jai siben bin ye hat kostu kadet da I thought helium I kodo da inisha ara kodo but alte Elena, but our own Navajo Nation enterprise. Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, can you hear me? Hello?
Honorable Daniels, yes, we can hear you. I believe Chair got knocked off the Zoom call. Let's wait for him to reappear back on the call.
Okay, I'll wait.
Honorable Daniel, Chairman Nez is back on the call.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, aran da kudo nasa. Ne kudo nagaita. Pa hasnen nagaita helium that egi. Joy ata be da an kudo nagaita. Kudo in here kudo la nani. Then here kudo nagait. Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. Just look kudo asin for da in next dollars. Aron har Sunday next dollars. Beto hands for the yana hit. A beto quenan $10. It's not going to go after Navajo Nation. So that the ban yield rate oil and gas, but the business and date our shareholders need Linigi. So 80 I see what I has $3 Mr. Chair to put on a rate. I want to put this sleep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. I'm just in one place, but somehow I got disconnected. The wind is really blowing hard here, and it's cloudy here also at San Juan Chapter region. Thank you for the presentation. As I was thinking about what Honorable Daniels is saying and the presentation that they already are reaching out to the local community of Aneth, that is good. That is a plus. The people need to be aware of certain proposals related to energy. With this sequestration of carbon and the power plant, and thinking about the unemployment rate on the Navajo Nation, and Honorable Daniels did mention the closure of NGS and Kayenta Mine. How do we start planning as leaders? And something like this is truly something to seriously consider as a part of the plan to be an owner of this through Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. And it's good to hear that NOG will receive credits for the California Low Carbon Fuel Standard. This is probably something related to my legislation as far as forest carbon credits, how the Navajo Nation will participate in that and generate revenue from the forest carbon credits according to California laws. And it's good that we're looking at ways as far as clean energy and what we can also do to sequester carbon. So I'm glad to hear about this, and I'm glad that Georges did contact me. It took a little while to get it on the agenda, but I'm glad we're hearing this. Honorable members of RDC, we are offered a tour Aneth area. I believe that is something, Mr. Tahi, if you would put that on the agenda for the next meeting on Wednesday, we could approve and plan when we can tour the Aneth region up there and meet with Elk Petroleum. And Honorable Daniels did mention have this discussion with Navajo Nation Oil and Gas as well as the shareholders. I believe there's two shareholders on the call, Honorable Daniels and Honorable Aroso today. So it's good to hear these things. And I think things such as these proposals are something worth listening to and just not watch it go by. We need to explore and meet and start talking as to how we can lay the foundation on this Shenandoah. And perhaps sometimes we could go travel to Houston and look at this power plant over there. We could do something like that and see how this carbon capturing is set up. So, are there any other comments or questions?
Hello, Honorable Nez. Can you hear me?
Yes, who's this?
This is Shelby Daisy with Navajo EPA. I have a quick question for Mr. Ambrose.
Yes.
Could you state your name again, please?
Shelby Daisy with Navajo EPA.
Okay. Honorable members of RDC, if it's okay with you, we can allow Navajo EPA to comment or ask a question. Are there any objections? I hear none. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Nez. I just had a quick question for Ambrose. I know that you had mentioned that you are working closely with Navajo Petroleum and that this facility will provide jobs for the Navajo Nation. I was just curious if there is an agreement to train up people and educate the young people. Like, for instance, we have Danette College and the University on the Navajo Nation. And it would be good to work with these schools to hire students as interns and train them up in this field. That way, when they graduate, they'll hopefully have a job to come back to. Is that something that you guys are working on or working towards, or is that in conversation right now?
So thank you for your question
there. Mr. Ambrose, your response, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your question. Ms. Daisy, yes, we currently are the largest contributor to the Fields program. I don't know if you're aware of what that is. That's the local high school there in Montezuma Creek. We are in the process of donating $150,000 this year to that program. And we are also starting to host, I believe, 8 interns during this semester. And these will all be paid internships. And then over the summer, we're going to have 3 internships, and those will also be paid. So I'm a very big supporter, and we at ELK are very large supporters of training folks and members of the Navajo Nation to come be really good and great employees. And I would also like to say that, almost well north of 90% of our workforce at the field are members of the Navajo Nation, with the most of them being local members, either members of Red Mesa or ANA chapters. But thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambrose. The school that you're talking about at Montezuma Creek, is that White Horse High School?
Yes, sir. That is White Horse High School. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any other comments or questions? I hear none. We'll go ahead and Honorable Kealan Begay Jr., you have the floor.
Chairman, I just wanted to say I do appreciate the presentation, and obviously we really can't do anything as a report, but just accept the report. Danda sato bahasiit to yuj satana etikitle do adquid the she when you can especially when it comes to natural resource activity on the Navajo Nation. Although the Nan Linigi job Olsen, especially the local chapter and the delegate from the region. Koko ashini o yal do employment nation. But a lot of times we really just need to move forward, making sure everything is covered as far as the Junkia Resource Development Committee needs Linigi. We are the oversight. Do the Kwigashi data in Kodit Lapita Inish for that ego is Joe or Nan Linigi with Isan Inils and do Adohit Oid Aninas that hit on the store. The one thing that I maybe, even though that we're going to do a tour, means maybe have an open forum session meeting in person with all these key stakeholders. At I HOA could that na the kid that do here at it I had hidden half time ago. A lot of them legal questions. Ben daiti kid. Ko dana hate to some extent we were asked or we were told that certain areas can't be utilized for a long time. Kid that no. Kaya. Or Joe that Joe Bakuhin Zendo, Joe Nabishan Olzen, or reclamations that at the Ninigi, the door, Ado, Heisiki, Kaya Banahit, such a does either. Joe that Hagish Joe Beda Hosanayat, such a co area Kodo on behalf of the committee and the public. We'll probably have a series of requesting for a series of session in public. To the public, and that way we don't get scrutinized to having certain meeting. The last minute that we add things onto the agenda. So anyway, just also be how can it send back when it's in the I believe oil and gas are having their session this Saturday, so maybe it added that the Shinjo but I mean that's today got done. But anyway, what Kodoshi Chairman requested several in-person meeting with the key stakeholders. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Gay, for your statement, your concerns, having this meeting be an open session for all can fully understand, as well as perhaps we, as Honorable Daniel stated, have a meeting with the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas and Elk Petroleum. Perhaps we could have this meeting up in Untitled Chapter or at their office there in Aneth area somewhere where there's a big enough area for most of us to sit and have I know we're still under restrictions, but have a limited amount of people there wearing their mask and ask questions and meet the folks from Elk Petroleum. And we do need to be transparent always, so people are not complaining about RDC or any of the committees. That's why these reports are brought to us during RDC's regular open meetings, so everyone can listen. So thank you for that. And any other comments or questions? Vice Chair Walker, was that you?
Yes.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, meeting members and staff. Hello, and the presenters, thank you for the presentation to RDC this morning. Appreciate the information. And as mentioned by colleagues here, information is relatively, they're in terms of new technology to the area, new concepts that we are presented with, and as such, then of course we are processing the information as best we can. Although the key is always to receive the information in the Navajo language, Navajo terminology, Navajo concepts, and that proves to be very effective for our leadership and the public as well. So if presenters have someone to do that, that would be really good to have Navajo translations. Probably in future meetings, I would just advise that or recommend that to have Navajo translations. So that's one comment I want to make, Shananta. And then the other is Resource and Development Committee. Back in early 2020, we were right before the pandemic broke out. We were in the process of organizing, coordinating, and we had made plans for Navajo Nation Energy Summit to get, the energy stakeholders, if you will, and the interest of Navajo in energy variations to one table or one room and discuss and for Navajo to think about the energy resources that we have. So we were right there then. At that time, pandemic broke out. That is now a few years ago. So I think committee members, more or less, we should probably discuss that again. See if when would be a good opportunity. Of course, when it's more and more safe for people to convene. And we do have meetings at the Twin Arrows Casino, but they're pretty much limited. There's a room capacity there, and we don't exceed that. But if there's going to be more people, more invited guests and presenters and leadership, then of course the public will also want to attend. So Ishi, more or less, maybe a few months down the road, sometimes this summer, but I want to sort of bring that back out again. We don't need to make any decisions today. But just the mere fact that that's something we could discuss again. Going back to where we left off, so to speak, as far as energy development or energy resources, or energy policies. Although the nation is ready to build energy offices also, as we know, and as we had discussed with the President Nez, again, back in 2020, that was something we were focusing on, an energy office. And then some of us had also stated that it would be good and timely, although appropriate, to have a renewable energy office also. Chairman, or committee members. So back to you, Chair. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker, for speaking on the RDC's energy discussion to the summit that we were scheduled to have right prior to COVID. And I believe we do need to go back to the table. And Mr. Tahi, if you would, perhaps after the hydrogen and helium at Twin Arrows, we can schedule the energy summit as well and really refocus on these, because things are slowing down as far as the COVID is concerned. So if you would do that, Mr. Tahi, would appreciate it. And also, Mr. Andrews, I'm sorry, Mr. Ambrose, on the presentation, the last page, it speaks to, as owner, NOG would receive credits for the California Low Carbon Fuel Standard. At our next meeting, we would appreciate having El Petroleum disclose these regulations from California and how it would fit with Navajo Nation laws, and how we would come together and move forward on a project of this magnitude, Mr. Ambrose.
Yes, I can, Chairman Nez. Yes, I can absolutely do that.
Okay, thank you. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? I hear none, so would like to say thank you to El Petroleum, the presenters. We look forward to the tour as well as the in-person meeting, and invite some community members to listen to our sessions as to how, from the local community, these proposed carbon sequestration power plant would move forward in the region there. So, and perhaps invite the school from Whitehorse to be present as well, to listen in on this leadership meeting at that time, as well as the shareholders of NOG and representatives from NOG. One more time, any other comments or questions? None. We'll go ahead and accept the report. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chair, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chair.
Honorable, thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. We'll accept the report from El Petroleum. Thank you very much. Moving down. All business, there's none. Number 7, new business. A, canceling RDC regular meeting on Wednesday, April 6 at 10 a.m. and scheduling an RDC special meeting on Friday, April 8 at 8 a.m. So we could go to our recorder, Ms. Woody's party over there at Fire Rock, I believe it was. Yes, that's in the afternoon, so that'll give us time to have a meeting in the morning. I'd like to have a motion in a second.
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Second by?
Second that.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker, thank you. Any comments or questions? None. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chair, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting, motion carries. B, approving an in-person leadership meeting with Department of Agriculture and Navajo Nation Fair Office to discuss the Master Development Plan and funding for Tuesday, May 3 at 9 a.m. Let's have a motion and a second.
Motion, Daniel.
Honorable Daniels, thank you. Second by?
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Any comments, questions? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting, motion carries. C, approving a leadership meeting with Mantell, Salle National Forest, Navajo Nation Forestry, Heritage and Historic Preservation Department, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs on the Mantai, Salle National Forest Plan revision for Thursday, May 5th at 9 a.m. Motion?
Chair, I motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Walker. Second?
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, this is Daniel.
Honorable Daniels, go ahead.
On this leadership meeting with Mantai Salle, National Forest, it's in Utah, in the Moab area. Just anigi ad but so hit an end then as a choice. She's the Ikadak. I don't know what was there. The street at the Halley out of the data. But Quadona Gata, I thought people had planned for yet to have this meeting. And one of the chapters, the go yet the Yanagata, she went delegates Charlene so the area generally like Montezuma Creek to the other couple of nights done for you. What I could not the net I don't think that maybe the local leaders and Lindigi and the great like the Red Mesa chapter, Mexican Water chapter, Tison Spons, I don't J to that Aggie time. I don't cut them so the leaders they end up I don't that they can give the information back to their constituents. So that I have learned about that some side. Or about this case, I don't know if we can do that with them, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels, for that recommendation to have this at a chapter meeting, at a chapter, not a meeting, but that would be an chapter, right? Honorable Daniels?
Mr. Chair, yes. It can be at the chapter house at Aneth, or we can utilize the UNHS facility, the great Montezuma Creek, just or outside their meeting room. So it is, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We'll put that on this motion here. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, Honorable Freeland, would you concur to have this at a chapter or at Montezuma Creek area? Vice Chair Walker?
Yes, I vote in favor.
Okay. Honorable Freeland, are you good with it?
So I'll be like Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Tahi, if you would work with what Honorable Daniels mentioned as far as Montezuma area, then we can find a venue for this meeting, a large enough space. If you would do that, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? None? Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
I vote green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. D, RDC meeting at Cameron, Arizona on the uranium cleanup for people to listen with Navajo Nation EPA. We don't have a date yet, but Mr. Tahi, if you would find us a date. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Chair, I motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Walker. Second by
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland. Thank you. Mr. Tahi, could you find a date for us, or we can approve it and then give us a date?
The chair members of RDC, I've located a date. It would be for Friday, May 5th at 9 a.m. for this in-person meeting at Cameron. May 6th. I'm sorry about that, Chair. May 6th.
Yes, I was going to say May 5th is for the Mantell Salle, but May 6th will be fine. So this will be an in-person meeting on May 6th. Is that a regular Wednesday, Mr. Tahi?
Chair, members of the committee, May 6th is Friday. It's not a regular meeting. So it would be a regular leadership meeting. If we are going to schedule this for a regular RDC meeting, it would need to be on a Wednesday. And we would schedule it for Wednesday, May 4th. And our RDC regular meeting would be held out at Cameron, Arizona.
Okay. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, do you want a RDC meeting or leadership meeting?
Chairman, I think it's good to have a regular meeting. Even that's directives, but leadership, so I would request that we have a report during a regular meeting of RDC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tahi, we'll go ahead and have that regular meeting on Wednesday the 4th at Cameron.
Chair, members of the committee, I have that noted and it'll be on the approved agenda as well. Note it on the approved agenda as the RDC regular meeting on May 4th, 2022 in Cameron, Arizona at 10 a.m.
Okay, thank you. Since we made that clarification, we'll go ahead and, are there any other comments or questions on this meeting on the 4th?
Mr. Chair, this is Daniel.
Honorable Daniel, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I don't think we're not understanding. I don't know to take those yok head again. Na great Nana Hassan go the Catona at I don't let a great sketa at a kid at a skating and a great let's so had a skating at Adosa. Adohazo. We get a hockey to get a nebit is actually. I don't the I also heard the Little Colorado River Gorge Tribal Park as a nay cat indicates a see that little has so a I don't let it is that so a when you could a stand Navajo Catono equado in a great after check or delegate walker ye kid what did a cocos the great at the quick or seeing what the how a con a great tapping the schedule. The Crescito less stock say and these two communities there they have tribal parks. I don't that they have uranium mines so scared I don't otherwise I see state Hawaiiada. I state Hawaiiada but could on a great then that is the second that the nail is no in a great in the schedule there kind there clear so 8 years and so I don't know that we have other areas so throughout the Navajo Nation very abandoned uranium mines. It has been as Masagi said so very one of the biggest mines that was a mine back in the 50s was monument number 2 in the great Cane Valley with Monument Valley area. That was one of the biggest mine back in the 50s. I don't know in a great cove, in a great Red Valley, just don't go and how they go and great Shamat delegate crowdy. They are Gianaga. I didn't question a great in New Mexico, you don't at a queer say what the hot so 8 years, but high stack, Halita is ne, it died or that have one meeting at one location that what as upon that run for yes don't do what I don't do I see with Hanani cut the door let go but then could say you carry to a later cut the net is he that has for your heart the don't do so Mr. Chair it is about has the or let's put on a rate I know we have a lot of requests put on a radar quite on a radar and that it could that the north is on a quite the NATO is the no the could a unique case could so but could on a great has it I am the cases could my colleagues and Linigi could the Blasna has Tranigi so say what and I love about this case because maybe we should just have one big meeting put on the great uranium with a dead abandoned uranium mines as been does the shanky so it you have about this case or according if you look at our schedule I see where we're swamped with our we're busy every day so they can do hanana the 2 cloud right in that the non-star or let go it's not this what that's conscious hard the non-star or let go low you go in days so you can understand that it can be on the RDC but I see the never car yet 78 Mr. Chair also has thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. That's a very good point that you made. Should we just have one big meeting, or what we can do is go to Monument Valley and have the people speak, and we can listen. We can go to at that meeting, we need to have Navajo Nation EPA office there, as well as Gilbert Daisy's shop, and also Melvin Yazzie. Stand up at a from abandoned uranium mines. A koi sato hunde. The next to the hado ascent lido late. You see in yet on the Arjun on the Ahasanja Kro, Honorable Vice Chair Walker Yi Kadiki. A ko Kro or Nicha Ashley Halet Alban so case data. A clanit Adas Ada Dagger, they set the deal out of a kid that's either like 20 arrows to add 3 areas nature. Ali that's out of an yes at it late and then Hasato late. What I net sessions and all. So Shnant, any comments or questions or recommendations on this?
Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Chairman, members of RDC, we have scheduled for Monday, April 25th at 9 a.m. a work session with Linda Davies and Cypress AMAX on their remediation of the abandoned uranium mines on the Navajo Nation at Twin Arrows. I have invited Navajo EPA to this work session as well, as this involves their participation. We can open this meeting up to the public as well, since it will be streamed, and have participants come to this meeting later in the afternoon and provide their input and testimonies and recommendations to RDC during this time as well, since we do have that facility. So this way we can accommodate the concerns that Honorable Herman Daniels did raise. Chairman, back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Tahi, for your advisement and reminding us of this meeting that we have scheduled. And I'm honorable members of RDC. We can still go to Monument Valley and we can still go to Cameron. These are 2 different regions and affected by the abandoned uranium mines. And at that time, we can still make an invitation to people to come to Twin Arrows in the afternoon. Go off throughout the Navajo Nation, people can come and join us at that time. So thank you, Mr. Tahi, for that a reminder. And what day did you say that was?
Chair members of RDC, that's going to be on May 25th, Monday. Chairman, I think I misspoke. It's Monday, March 20, and the 25th of April. It's a Monday at 9 a.m.
Okay. That would be good. So we may have to move the Cameron meeting up from May 4th. Mr. Tahi, what day can we have it prior to April 25th? Could you also let us know what day that we're supposed to be at Monument Valley?
Chair members of RDC, your schedule for April regarding uranium mines and and the site tour is as follows. So on April, Monday, on the 25th at 9 a.m., we have a work session with Linda Davies and Cypress Amex on the remediation of the abandoned uranium mines on the Navajo Nation at Twin Arrows. For Tuesday, April 26th at 9 a.m., we have a leadership meeting to conduct the ALM site tours with Navajo ALM, Department of the Interior, the Division of Natural Resources, and Navajo EPA. This is going to be out at Monument Valley, as well as Helchita. Then on the 27th, on Wednesday, RDC approved to reschedule the RDC meeting and make a special meeting for Friday, April 29th at 10 a.m. So that way we can have a work session with Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park residents at Monument Valley on the 27th. So we are already going to be in that vicinity on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th.
Are you done, Mr. Tahi?
Yes, Chair, I'm done.
So we could stay with May 4th then, RDC meeting?
Chair members of RDC, yes, we can stay with May 4th and have that meeting out in Cameron and have those reports provided to RDC during those regular meetings and still accommodate Delegate Daniel's concerns and have the public meet with RDC while we're already in those areas on the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. I would just need to make note of this on the agenda so this way we do accommodate those recommendations that Honorable Daniel did make. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you for keeping up with us, our schedules, and all that you do, Mr. Tahi. We do appreciate that. Honorable members of RDC, any comments or questions? We'll stay with Honorable Begay, go ahead.
Although that I don't really have a problem with the scheduling and the location. The intent, the purpose of these visits to these locations. Usually, sometimes it gets to nowhere. I mean, I hate to say this. Several years ago, as you know, that there was a tour made into central part of the Navajo Nation, specifically to many farms about diversion dam, farming issues, and so on. Then not much has been done, even though there was a publicity about the need of of a situation in the community. As of today, I guess, continue to reach out either to the BIA and our own Navajo Nation programs division that anahot ito lati di hot isa sa nansnel dato ya kwat aita hadahatet ego we just need additional resource or additional funding di ego kodo nda has chuti need atan ado the RDC tour da ilia ended kunanat esto watershed no the banda al te kodo bayata phe could art budget all on hodat era do yego bita inista. And I appreciate my colleague to asking us to go out there akoko sat isms and halit hour what would be more what approach will be more effective that asahata nizado banyas hito aita da inisto benda anisto hadahitza tohinsendo liche Jenzon case latte a coco dik at Benyana este. I mean, how is it that we be that this particular request, especially for our Navajo people that lives in these areas, jo ishitan o a coco o adnage na nekha ado hat end to yego papata huntinda the programs aquí at all elected officials that ekine kako benade ayisigi tolnish ayisigi hot editolni to ayisigi bebechebetol asigi to okwa akoko to o da hozil to o da han kon heche benyet hadati khato benyen hinta acheta ako adi hadahit to ya del ato ten o arto so nani go o the message is not that this ade akoko dik apinya dik especially uranium niniki, but we get update directly from the uranium commissioners, the uranium office. And as you know that we have been asking to the federal government about field hearing on the Navajo Nation. Ko na so siki ben DJ to no spe ilni ko ate to aden ta alte kata hinan ta ad khataga na khata se to ya nat sa to ad akoko hodat age o cha la ta se pe pa yi kha ke ben na to hit na ta a choche onasin so dan se case the deed ako ebe ben na ko dik all these meetings that we're asking to conduct at these specific meetings. I mean, I really like for the key stakeholders to be there. If it's roads, let the division director to be there. Let the agency staff to be there. If the BIA is involved, let the BIA director to be there. Let the regional director to be there. If it's ISS, let ISS director to be there. Let OH staff to be there. If it's uranium, yep, obviously you got the uranium office and the uranium commissioners to be there. Sato papayel hito ishi and hicha hato sihiki piliya. To kwa akis chaton nil epilia ashi e ilte tole. Ako aki chairman Lynch Kedolis as chair to direct with this motion of the meetings, request that the key stakeholders of each of the division, the EPA, the Division of Natural Resource, and so on, to take part, to be part of these meetings so that we know what's been discussed and what the task and what needs to be done, the purpose of having the RDC meeting at these locations. Either to keep up, get an update report, progress report, led dit asasi tlen tan da dit ego go kidney in han za hap da own niche. It doesn't necessarily have to be an oral report. It could be just a written report given to the committee to say that led dit up on so ida hun za hap da hoel jish other quiet at it bahna hun this is where we need your help. This is what we need to do. I mean, but I say that the situation continues to exist. Need age Chairman, I mean, I support the request by my colleague, but I believe the key stakeholder needs to be to take part in these meetings. So especially the local chapter officials, and sometimes we don't have these chapter officials at these meetings as well. The grading official in whatever area that's being discussed. I need nowadays. We've got to have secure a bigger location, just so that we accommodate more people to take part in these meetings. And I'm sure that some of these schools could be able to come allow us with I don't know, because of the COVID-19, the protocols that we have to follow. So, Chairman, that way, the Ada, the Danya Hokunda state, the Dodania Adequata, and I see Tom and that after. What I could also request is Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Begay, for making your statement on the concerns of our meetings that we conduct, as well as not having much progress as far as a progress report on some of these meetings that we have at the local level. Although before COVID, we had regular meetings in Window Rock, and we were very focused. I'm sure all the committees were very focused on the programs that they're the oversight over. We did our work. I'm sure other committees did as well. When COVID came, this is what we do. We speak and have meetings over the telephone. And then our priorities as RDC, just as other committees have priorities, we all put things aside on the wayside, and we do have chapters that we represent. And sometimes we're distracted by 2 meetings, sometimes 3 meetings all at once. Because I know I do that sometimes. And sometimes I just have to miss my meetings, my chapter meetings. I miss my chapter meetings because we're on these leadership meetings 5 days a week, sometimes on a weekend like this past weekend. Sometimes we miss our local community meetings. I do, especially as the chair of RDC, when I'm facilitating these meetings. Sometimes I can't even be on a meeting, but if there's a report given on our meetings, then that gives me time to put in my earpiece, listen to the meeting, and then provide a brief report to my chapter, at least 5 minutes or even 3 minutes. And that's not very good on my part. Recently, there was a report card given out on delegates by some group, and I think we all received an F, except for a couple of people that were valedictorians and whatever they would call it,
for paying attention and speaking good Navajo and then attending their meetings. But we all have meetings to attend teleconference with our chapters, okay? And they don't see it. Maybe chapters don't submit to this group, let them know that we were on those meetings to get a very important report on certain legislations like 257. And what date on it what I see what on Sinan Shadel. The late on is what on it Holland Lego Dr. Show come back to committee meetings. Then we're gonna miss a whole lot of chapter meetings when we do that. And and then hitch another hashtag hash and none on hitch and not on that not on hit it. You know, either way we go to have meetings, they're gonna complain. People are gonna complain saying you don't come to our meetings then hit needle late, even though they tell us not yet wonder rock on hot on data. The local level belongs to the local chapter leadership. They are decision makers at the local level. We cannot interfere with them. We give them reports. We do for them what they want. But to actually report to them, I can't do that. I have to be on these meetings just as well as some of you do. Okay, we've been on these teleconference meetings for over 2 years, but I need it then. I just got another email just now. They're inviting me to a meeting at 12:30. By then, I'm going to be driving that direction to go to NDOT. And I'm going to be losing reception, and they're going to be frustrated with me because I'm losing reception. But we are very busy. So you're busy, you lose reception, you tell me that you're going to vote green on certain things. We understand, but the part of progress reports again is something that we need to go to Twin Arrows and sit down and go over all our priorities in person. That sometimes we don't show up. We need to be there when we approve in-person meetings. We need to drop all our chapter meetings. We need to focus on our meetings. Even if they want us to be on their meetings, we need to tell them this is a priority, RDC, as delegates. We cannot be outside being on the telephone and then interrupt meetings by going in and out of our own meetings on RDC or Nabikiati or the full council. We have to focus and do our work as lawmakers, all of us, not just RDC committee. I'm sure other committees. And on that report card, it was just very biased as to what they were saying. And basically how it's there was a report card, and you're not going to the chapter house meeting. No, hey, your chapter house meeting go to let that they offer teleconference numbers. So how do we do all this? Is to do it the way we're doing. If we approve a meeting in person, let's be there. Let's be there in person because we voted on it and we committed to being there in person. No numbers should be offered to us at that time unless we approve it as an in-person as well as a hybrid meeting. Then we can all focus on what we're doing as far as our work is concerned. And with this today, we'll just go ahead and approve this regular meeting. At that meeting on May 4th, if there's directives that need to be given, we can do that. And before the close of the meeting today, we can make a motion and a second to provide a directive to key stakeholders to make sure that they participate and bring all the necessary documents to present to leadership and give us a progress report, as well as from Cypress, Navajo EPA, and abandoned uranium mines. And if there's anyone that we left out, stakeholders,
The Bureau of Indian Affairs does need to be there, and we can also invite them to these meetings. So with the directive, we can make that motion at the end of new business. On this regular meeting that will take place at Cameron, Arizona. If not, we'll go ahead and vote on it. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Gay?
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
I vote green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. E, request for RDC regular meeting at Navajo chapter to provide a report on the Gold King Mine Spill Mitigation Fund. And at that meeting, Mr. Tahi, I would appreciate it if you contact the Department of Justice to be there as well in person. We will have a tour of Navajo Mine after the meeting as well. So, honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Motion, Chairman, I motion.
Honorable Daniels, second by
Chair, I second.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Mr. Tahi, what day did we discuss this on the?
The chair members of RDC, we discussed that this meeting will be held on Friday, April 29th at 9 a.m. We can start early at 8 a.m. and it'll be at Navajo chapter. This will be a special meeting.
Okay. Special meeting at Navajo chapter and a tour of Navajo Mine on April 29, which is a Friday at 9 a.m. Any comments or questions, Mantai? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Kiel and Begay Jr.
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels.
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland.
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart.
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. Ms. Khan, are you on the call?
Mr. Chair, yes, I am on the call.
Okay, we would like to have a motion and a second to give a directive from Resource and Development Committee to invite all stakeholders to participate and to present proper important documents on the uranium cleanup on the Navajo Nation. And this will be sent to the Bureau of Indian Affairs as well as the Abandoned Uranium Mine Office and Navajo Nation EPA, as well as others. Is it okay, Ms. Khan, to have this directive at this time?
Mr. Chair, yes, at this time, you might want to add it to your agenda. Do a motion and second to add it to your agenda. And then the general policy in the Title II with regard to directives is that the directive is to be given by the Oversight Committee to the entities that it has oversight authority over. And the departments that you have oversight over include the Navajo Nation EPA, If the uranium office is under the Division of Natural Resources, that would also be within the oversight of the Resources and Development Committee. And I will, I did not catch others, but essentially the oversight authority may give directives to the entities that it has oversight authority over. And like I said, it might be, I would suggest doing a motion and a second to add it to your agenda and then go from there. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second to suspend the floor rules and amend the agenda to add this directive, which we are discussing, to the agenda for approval. Motion?
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Second by?
Stewart.
Honorable Stewart, thank you. Any comments or questions on the suspension of floor rules, amending the agenda to add this directive? None. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kale votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. We just amended the agenda to add a directive to the agenda. And it will go under F. F will be approving a directive to key stakeholders to provide pertinent information related to the abandoned uranium mines across the Navajo Nation, to also provide a progress report to the Resources and Development Committee. And the stakeholders will be the Abandoned Uranium Mine Office, Navajo Nation EPA, and Division of Natural Resources. That will be the directive there. We'd like to have a motion and a second. If we need to amend it, then we'll do that. Motion?
Mr. Chair, this is Mariana Khan again.
Ms. Khan?
May I suggest that you also add the time and the place that the stakeholders are asked to present this material at. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for that recommendation. It will be the approved meetings in April the 25th, the 26th, and I believe the 27th. Mr. Tahi, am I correct?
The chair members of RDC, yes, that would be correct. Chair, just a quick recommendation. I would broadly put Division of Natural Resources and their departments that deal with abandoned uranium as well. So this way we get a broader perspective on getting those departments involved as well. That would include Navajo Nation Land Department, as these lands are on the Navajo Nation.
Good recommendation, Mr. Tahi. We will include the Division of Natural Resources, their departments, certain offices, as well as Navajo Land Department, and those related to that. So for the date, time, and place, it will be those dates, 25th, 26th, and 27th of April at 20 arrows, and those areas where we're going to be touring the place. So, Shananta, on F, we'd like to have a motion and a second.
Motion, Daniel.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Second by?
Alan.
Honorable Begay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Honorable Begay, thank you for this directive, for making this recommendation. Any comments or questions?
Chair. Thomas Walker.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker, go ahead.
Yes, Chairman, committee members, staff, Ms. Khan from Legislative Council's office. The directive, but earlier when I requested for the meeting over in Cameron, I indicated specifically that your committee can make directives upon hearing issues, concerns on those on the agenda. So even yet to receive the issues and concerns on the matter. Other than a oversight, a non-issued so the directive we're going to vote on, that's okay, that's good. But just know that they not meeting the non further or additional directives can be issued by the oversight committee. I just want to make that statement. It doesn't need to be in this motion, but and that's why the request is made to have a meeting at a local chapter. So now it's pretty serious, and oversight. We have that oversight authority, legislative authority, and that's a directive. That's proper and appropriate. Directive on record and by law, committees can do this. It did this in Soya by Yashti Ado Ashanina Nishko attached either Lebanon that you know. But echo Nahatzito Ado Kiti Hodlo Ado Sato to meeting that will coordinate it later echo but not all Nahat Ahad or reschedule Nana in Zahat Ishi then not Danitla or Saturday in the Hazdi and that of Nahoti Hagadoda Nahoti Hagada Nahoti Leo Yokobo echo other Akwato Haja Nahoti Dakota so what echo or your book or the Nan Shigi Hinte other big Hanna Tatoyat Ena little another Hatzi echo. The Ena net Nichi Kashanant nature. The Benil Anigit Benil Sogit Ashin Nan Shadil Nif Rage Snarl Day Edo E Bendahot Ahako. But I thought you that the Disney Abenish Anigit other Disney. I could out the Nilsen Sinanta. I could answer the Welsh. Benilla, Benil Sogit, the Neban seats. I could eat any chairman and it. Which Saturday, that or Sunday, that or actually Jota. In other that he done should be the weekend that of a husband. What the door to pass out to get a leader, she says, neither. Even so anything that not never that never yell teacher in Dan Chico. I call Anna she Kato that Elnan should that deal nature, but I even yet that deals and but echo Shinantato Elsabas go
Yes, and Honorable Vice Chair Walker, Ado, Honorable members of RDC, Nichon and I really appreciate your participation. But I need yesterday when we adjourned our meeting in Albuquerque, but we want you to come over and meet with us. I went about 6 blocks there from where we were at, and I had another meeting. Updates. Excuse me. I am not asking. Could it's just because it has candidates and on Saturday night, 11 o'clock, 11:30 going to Salle. So this is what we do. Which is good, and we still get things done. So just want to bring that up and say thank you. So at that meeting, if we need to have some directives, we'll do that at Cameron. Any other comments or questions? Let's go ahead and approve this directive. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Begay? Honorable Begay? Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Honorable Begay?
Chairman, Keelan votes green. I guess I was muted. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. They're not voting. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Back to the agenda. I believe we're done. We are at the close of the meeting, number 8. Any announcements? We have a 2 o'clock meeting at Sabanito in Dutchland. It's an in-person meeting, so we'll see you there at 2 o'clock. Motion to adjourn.
Sure, I'm yelling.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker and Honorable Begay. Any comments or questions? Then, Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keelan votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. We are officially adjourned at 11:14 a.m. Be safe driving to Window Rock. Be safe out wherever you all are at. May God bless each and every one of you and your families.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Nez, this is Otto So. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It's a Chewy Otto So. Go on that.